Greetings, taxable assets, or as the Departmento Munitorum refers to you in the wider demographics, collateral damage.
Hey, Auditor Krauss, we are live. The Voxcaster is active.
Welcome back to Office 44B, Departmento Analytica. I am Senior Auditor Valarius Krauss. The air recycling unit is still rattling like a chimera with a throne track. The recap tastes like engine coolant filtered through a guardsman's boot, and the Emperor is still dead.
Greetings, citizens. Attendance has been logged. Mandatory enthusiasm protocols are currently offline for maintenance.
But the paperwork, Scribe, the paperwork is alive. The paperwork is eternal.
Yes, sir, the paperwork.
Ignore the protocol, Scribe.
Yeah.
Today, we have a crisis of efficiency on our desk. We're auditing a liability, a massive one. I'm holding a strategic report filed by the civilian contractor known as Ospex Tactics.
Ah, yes, the civilian data file.
The subject, the Necron C10, the Star Gods.
The report is titled How to Beat C10 in Warhammer 40K, Auditor. It appears to be a comprehensive analysis of the new Necron Codex.
Comprehensive. We'll see about that.
The civilian populace, the players, they seem to find his analysis quite comforting. He refers to the C10 as meta boogeymen.
Boogeymen?
Yes, sir.
Civilians love their ghost stories, don't they? They like to think there are monsters under the bed that can't be killed. It's quaint.
It seems to be a popular viewpoint.
In this office, Scribe, we do not deal in boogeymen. We deal in inefficient resource sinks. We deal in depreciation. We deal in the cold, hard calculus of attrition. Is that clear?
Perfectly, sir. Resource sinks.
The Ospex report claims these star gods are nearly invincible, sir. He suggests the new January 2026 update has made them significantly harder to liquidate.
Harder to remove from the board, yes.
He claims they can teleport across the battlefield like they own the sector. That they are, and I quote, overall harder to kill.
That is the core of his thesis, Auditor.
Well, they are variables in a spreadsheet, nothing more. And today, we're going to audit those variables against the only thing that matters.
The Munitorum Field Manual.
The January 2026 Munitorum Field Manual, and, more importantly, the Red Team Verification Report.
The Red Team Verification. That represents Vermilion clearance level math hammer, sir. I wasn't aware we were cleared for that.
I cleared it. We're going to see if the numbers from this civilian contractor actually add up. Because here is the stake, citizens. Listen very closely.
They're listening, sir.
If the math in this Ospex report is wrong, and you follow it, if you trust in the invincibility of your precious dark god, you die. Your army is liquidated, and you lose on victory points. It's that simple.
And if the math is right?
If the math is right, you still die, but perhaps you die within the budget. It's about fiscal responsibility and death.
Of course. Where shall we begin the audit, sir? The file is extensive.
Let's open the ledger on the most critical asset column, the one everyone talks about. Durability.
Right. Pulling up claim number 1. The context. The durability audit. The civilian contractor, Ospex, analyzes the shift from the specific index profile to the new codex profile for the entity known as the Shard of the Nightbringer.
Read his claim out loud. Let's hear the raw data before we dissect it.
He states, and I am quoting directly, the main changes gave them an effective massive durability increase against damage 2 and 3 weapons. The biggest anti-tank weapons find them a touch easier, but overall, they are harder to kill.
Overall, harder to kill. Just let that phrase hang in the recycled air for a moment.
He does cite the raw profile statistics to support this, Auditor. Toughness, 11. A 4+ invulnerable save.
Okay.
A 5+ feel no pain. And the wounds have increased from 12 to 16.
16 wounds. Scribe, tell the listeners what that actually means.
On the surface, just looking at the numbers like a child, that looks like a 33% increase in asset volume, correct?
Correct. More health points usually equates to longer survivability. That is standard battlefield logic.
Usually. But you are looking at the gross revenue, Scribe. You're ignoring the tax rate. You're ignoring what actually gets taken away. We need to talk about the last cannon stress test.
The last cannon stress test. Pull up source B from the Red Team report. We need to explain the economy of death to these people.
Accessing SME 40K V26 Monte Carlo simulation engine, it's loading.
Listen closely, citizens. This is where the civilian contractor, Ospex, gets what I call gloss brain. He is conflating the old index economy with the new codex economy. And they are not the same thing. Not at all.
You're referring to the core rule change on their data sheet.
To understand why the C10 is actually more fragile now against real threats, we have to understand the rule that governed them previously, the rule called Necrodermis. What did it do, Scribe?
In the index, Necrodermis stated that all damage suffered by the model was halved.
Halved, not -1, not some paltry reduction. Halved. That is a massive safety net. A 50% tax shield against incoming fire. Let's break it down for the class.
Okay.
Our standard unit of bankruptcy is the last cannon. Strength 12, AP -3. The important part is the damage. There's a D6 +1.
Highly variable damage, yes. High variance. A big potential swing.
Exactly. Variance is risk.
Yeah.
So in the old days, the last cannon hits a C-tan. You fail your invulnerable save. Now you roll for damage. Let's say you roll an average number, a 3.
So D6 +1, that's 4 damage.
4 damage incoming. What happened next under the old rule?
The Necrodermis rule triggered. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The C-tan takes 2 damage.
2 damage. Simple. But here's the important part, Scribe. The part Ospex seems to gloss over.
Yeah.
What if the opponent got lucky? What if the Emperor himself guided that roll and they got a 6 on that D6?
A 6, so total damage 7.
Total damage 7. A massive hit. What happens?
7 divided by 2 is 3.5. We round up, so 4.
4 damage,
Yeah.
DC. The old rule was a ceiling, a limiter. It smoothed out the spikes of outrageous fortune. It meant that no matter how lucky your opponent got with their damage roll, the Star God shrugged off half of it. It was insurance against bad luck.
It capped the potential liability from a single shot.
Precisely. It was predictable. And in auditing, we love predictable.
Yeah.
Now, what is the new rule? Under Departmento Regulation 1.9,
The new rule is simply -1 damage.
just -1.
Is that significantly worse? It sounds less impressive, but with more wounds.
Is it worse? Scribe, you have the cogitator right there. Run the numbers, the same last cannon shoots, the same perfect roll. A 6, that's 7 damage incoming. Apply the new rule.
Okay, 7 minus 1 is 6 damage.
6 damage. Do you see the discrepancy? Do you see the catastrophic failure in the math?
I do. From 4 damage to 6 damage.
In the old economy, you took 4 damage on their luckiest possible shot. In the new economy, you take 6. That is a 50% increase in liability on a single shot. A single high roll.
But Auditor, the Ospex report, he emphasizes the 16 wounds. Surely having 4 extra wounds compensates for taking an extra 2 damage on a high roll?
It compensates for incompetence, Scribe. It compensates for small arms fire. This is where Ospex is technically correct, but practically dead wrong. So he's right about damage 2 weapons. If you are hitting a C-tan with a Power Fist standard task, damage 2, the math favors the C-tan. 2 damage becomes 1. That is a 50% reduction. That is efficient.
So against certain profiles, it is better.
But tell me, Scribe, who shoots a Star God with a Power Fist?
Desperate people, or
Right.
perhaps someone who has no other choice.
Dead people. You don't hunt tanks with pistols. You don't send a guardsman to punch a god. You shoot a Star God with less cannons, with bright lances, with Tyranid rupture cannons. You shoot it with things that are designed to kill monsters.
High damage anti-tank weaponry.
And against those high damage weapons, the -1 damage is a mathematically inferior shield compared to half damage. It's not even close.
The Red Team Verification Report has a note here. It says, the variance profile has worsened considerably.
Ah, yes. Variance. The auditor's nightmare. Variance is risk, Scribe. The old rules protected you from the bad luck of your opponent rolling high. It was a safety blanket. The new rules, they invite the spike.
They expose the asset to high roll potential.
If a less cannon rolls high, the C-tan takes massive damage. The safety net is gone, the ceiling has been removed, and now you're just staring at the cold, uncaring void.
So, in layman's terms, the floor for killing it is higher because of the wound count, but the ceiling for how fast it can die has been completely removed.
Precisely. The potential for a rapid catastrophic liquidation event is now significantly higher. It is no longer a tank. It is an oversized Terminator hunter. And Ospex Tactics calls it a meta boogeyman that can soak up fire.
That appears to be false advertising based on this data.
It is. If you park the Nightbringer in front of 3 Gladiator Lancers because you think, oh, I have -1 damage and 16 wounds, you are going to be filing a casualty report by turn 2. The Durability Audit results in a catastrophic failure of expectation.
I see. It appears the civilian contractor was perhaps too optimistic about the math.
Optimism is the first step towards heresy, Scribe, and financial ruin. But durability is only one column in the ledger. Let's look at how they suggest we use these newly fragile assets. Let's move to mobility.
Of course, shuffling the parchments. Section 2, the mobility audit. This concerns the strategy of using the Hypercrypt Legion detachment.
Ah, yes. The Hypercrypt fraud. I've been looking forward to this particular piece of fiction. Proceed.
The Ospex dossier suggests a specific tactical maneuver. He calls it a saturation event. The report reads, and I quote, Use the cosmic precision stratagem to drop a CTAN 3 inches away from the enemy.
Go on.
He says this allows you to block movement lanes and score secondaries deep in enemy territory. He's very enthusiastic about it.
Illegal procedure. That is an illegal procedure. I am citing Ospex for attempted deployment of oversized assets in a restricted zone.
Sir, I don't understand. The cosmic precision stratagem in the Hypercrypt attachment does allow a unit to arrive from reserve outside of 3 inches rather than the standard 9. It's a very popular tactic.
It is a popular tactic for some units, for infantry, for things that aren't the size of a small hablock. But read the fine print, Scribe. This is what separates auditors from civilians. We read the footnotes. Read the January 2026 balanced data slate.
I have it here, sir.
What does the parenthetical text say? The text right there in the brackets, regarding the target of cosmic precision.
Accessing legal text. It says, target, 1 Necron's unit from your army. And then, ooh.
Read it. Read it to the class.
Excluding monster units.
Excluding monster units, not except sometimes, not unless you really want to. Excluding. And what, pray tell, is the key word on the bottom of the data sheet for the Shard of the Nightbringer?
It is a monster, sir.
And the Void Dragon, the one he also suggests for this tactic.
Monster.
And the Transcendent Cetan, just for good measure.
Also a monster, sir.
They are all monsters. You cannot use the stratagem on them. Auspex is selling you a luxury vehicle that has no wheels. He is telling you to teleport a Godzilla into a phone booth, and the rules explicitly, in plain high Gothic, forbid it.
That effectively neutralizes the entire saturation strategy he proposes, does it not?
Yeah.
If they cannot drop it 3 inches.
It doesn't just neutralize it, Scribe. It obliterates it. It exposes it as a complete fantasy.
Yeah.
If you cannot use cosmic precision, what is the only other way for the CTAN to arrive from reserve?
Standard deep strike rules apply. They must set up more than 9 inches away horizontally from all enemy models.
9 inches. Do you know how far 9 inches is in the Grimdark, Scribe?
It is the standard charge distance, a difficult one to make.
It is a mile. It is a marathon across no man's land. To make a charge for 9 inches requires a roll of 9 or more on 2 dice. The probability is roughly 28%.
That's not reliable.
It is the definition of unreliable. You cannot bank a 300-point asset, a whole battle plan on a 28% success rate. It's fiscal insanity.
But the report mentions blocking movement lanes. Even arriving at 9 inches, surely a big model can still block things.
Let's talk about the geometry of failure. It's my favorite subject. Auspex talks about creating a wall, an impassable barrier. If you could drop 3 inches away, yes, you can do that. You are close enough that a standard infantry model cannot squeeze past you. You create a physical obstruction.
I understand. A 3-inch bubble is very restrictive.
But at 9 inches, what kind of gap does that leave?
Much larger one, I suppose. The enemy has more room to maneuver.
They can host a parade in the gap. They can drive a Land Raider through it. The entire concept of blocking a lane from 9 inches away is a tactical fallacy. You are not a wall. You are a mild inconvenience, a decorative statue in the distance.
So the saturation concept is a lie.
It is a bureaucratic impossibility, a fiction sold to the hopeful masses. The CTAN has to clog.
Slog, sir.
Walk. Like a peasant. It has a 10-inch move. It has to walk through the ruins, through the mud, getting shot at by those last cannons we just discussed.
Yeah.
It cannot just appear in front of the enemy warlord and say, boo. It has to commute to work like the rest of us, and its commute is a death trap.
That sounds remarkably inefficient for a star god.
It is the peak of inefficiency. And yet, this strategic report from Ospex Tactics treats it like a magic trick. Just use cosmic precision. I'd like to see him try that at a grand tournament. The judge would red card him before he rolled a single die. This entire section of the audit is a failure.
Perhaps we should take a brief sidebar, Auditor. The ventilation fan seems to be clunking louder than usual. I'm having trouble hearing my own servo motors.
Unbelievable. Do you hear that noise? That is the sound of Departmento resources being misallocated. That is the sound of my tax tithes being wasted.
It is distracting, sir.
I filed a request, a formal, notarized, tri-stamped request, to have that fan fixed in M41.999. Do you know where that budget went instead?
I do not have access to those files, sir.
It went to the Adeptus Astartes. Of course it did. They need gold leaf for a chapter master's shoulder pad. Gold leaf. For vanity. For a parade I'm not even sure happened. Meanwhile, I am inhaling fungal spores in Sector 4 because the Omnissiah's blessings don't extend to HVAC repair.
Sir, you are raising your voice. The cogitators are vibrating. The scribe servitor in the next cubicle just jettisoned his ink reserves.
Let them vibrate. And you know what? I want the civilians to hear this.
Yeah.
You, listening to this audit, I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there painting your little toy soldiers thinking, oh, Auditor Krauss is wrong. I saw a Reddit thread that said I can use cosmic precision on monsters.
Sir, I don't think they...
Go ahead, leave a comment. I dare you. Tell me I'm wrong. Quote the rule book at me. Try to do my job for me. I have the January 2026 data slate tattooed on the inside of my eyelids. I dream in errata and footnotes. You think you know the rules. I am the rules.
Auditor, please.
Yeah.
Your blood pressure. The Medici servitor will be alerted.
You're right, Scribe. I'm calm. I'm perfectly calm. Let's just return to the purely rational analysis of this document. Where were we?
Section 4, sir. The healing audit. Or, as you called it in your preliminary notes, the Ponzi scheme.
Right. The Ponzi scheme. It's the perfect term for it. Read the claim from Ospex.
Context. The Canoptech Reanimator and Infinite Recursion Strategist, Ospex states. If you leave a Cetan half-killed near Reanimator, it restores 80 points of value. Reanimating D3 extra wounds makes them effectively unkillable.
Effectively unkillable. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? A fantasy. Eternal life through shoddy accounting.
The math, in a vacuum, seems to check out, sir. Native reanimation is D3 wounds per turn.
Correct.
But the Reanimator's beam adds another D3.
Also correct.
And the stratagem protocol of the Undying Legions triggers the native reanimation again. That is, potentially 8 wounds healed per battle round. D3 plus another D3. Wait, 9 wounds potentially?
Let's be generous and say 8. 8 wounds. Half the health bar back in a single turn. If you look at those numbers in isolation, it looks like a perpetual motion machine. A zombie that just won't die.
It seems very powerful.
But we don't live in a vacuum, Scribe. We live in a war zone. And in a war zone, dependencies are liabilities.
Yeah.
What is the fundamental flaw in this unkillable strategy?
I assume it's the Reanimator itself.
It's not immortality. It's a dependency issue. And like all dependence, it is fragile. Look at the range on that healing beam, Scribe. Check the latest data slate.
The range of the Reanimator's aura.
January 2026. What happened to that range? It used to be 6 inches.
It was. It was reduced to 3 inches.
3 inches. We'll keep coming back to this cursed number. Do you know how close 3 inches is on a battlefield? The Reanimator has to be practically sniffing the Cetan's Necrodermis. They have to be holding hands, skipping through the ruins together.
Severely limits tactical flexibility. They become one large target.
It creates a kill box. And here's the single point of failure, the linchpin of this entire fantasy. What is the toughness of a Canoptech Reanimator?
Let me see. Toughness 6. 6 wounds. A 4+ save.
T6. W6. It's a crab made of tinfoil. It's a walking target with the giant shoot me sign strapped to its back. Auspex assumes the opponent is a gloss-brained fool who is going to shoot the T11 16-wound Cetan, the invincible star god, while this little healing crab is standing right next to it humming away.
A competent opponent would target the Reanimator first.
A confident opponent would sneeze on the Reanimator and it would explode. A single Lascannon shot has a good chance of crippling it. A squad of basic infantry could probably bracket it. It is not a survivable unit.
And that's before considering area of effect weapons.
Exactly. You're learning, Scribe. This is the beautiful part, the blast shadow.
Blast shadow. I'm not familiar with the term.
If the opponent fires a blast weapon at the Cetan, say a demolisher cannon, a plasma cannon,
Right.
anything goes boom, and the little Reanimator is standing within 3 inches holding its hand.
The Reanimator is likely to be hit by the splash damage.
It gets caught in the blast. You don't even have to aim at it. You shoot the big guy, and the little guy dies from the shrapnel. It is the definition of a tactical blunder. So once the Reanimator dies, what happens to our unkillable god's math?
The healing capacity drops from a potential 8 or 9 wounds to maybe 2 or 3 from its own ability.
And the Ponzi scheme collapses. The infinite recursion is based entirely on the survival of a unit that cannot survive focus fire. It is an audit violation of the highest order. It's relying on best-case scenario assets that wilt under the slightest pressure.
In my department, we plan for the worst case.
As all sane individuals should, the healing audit is a fail. Utterly.
It seems the entire strategy proposed by Ospex Tactics is, well, it's leaking value everywhere.
We are hemorrhaging efficiency, Scribe. But we haven't even reached the worst part, the most egregious error, the one that made me spill my recap.
There's more. I assume that's Section 5.
Section 5, the weaponry audit, specifically the Melta misunderstanding.
The report does mention this. Context. How Melta weapons interact with the new Necrodermis rule. Ospex states, and I quote, Damage reduction neutralizes high damage. Melta buffs are mitigated by the -1 damage rule.
Just give me a moment. The sheer density of the ignorance there is staggering.
He suggests that because Melta adds damage and Necrodermis subtracts it, they effectively cancel each other out, making Melta an inefficient choice.
You failed 4th grade mathematics, citizen. In the Grimdark, we follow the order of operations, the PEMDAS of the 41st millennium.
PEMDAS. I'm not familiar with that tactical doctrine.
Parentheses, exponents. Oh, never mind the details. The point is there is a sequence, a hierarchy. Let's look at the rules commentary, version 1.9. How do we apply modifiers to a characteristic scribe?
There is a hierarchy, sir. First, you set the value, then you apply any division or multiplication, and finally, you apply any addition or subtraction.
Correct. Now let's look at the old way, the index way. The old Necrodermis was halve damage. Which step is that?
That's division, step 2.
And the Melta rule, which adds damage, is which step?
Addition, step 3.
So, in the old days, division happened first, right? You have the base damage of the weapon, then you added the Melta bonus. The halving protected you. It happened early in the chain of operations.
I see. It reduced the number before the bonus was added?
But now, what is the new Necrodermis?
Now it is -1 damage, which is subtraction.
And Melta is addition. Where do addition and subtraction fall in the hierarchy?
They're in the same step, sir. Step 3.
They happen at the same time. And when modifiers happen at the same time, the player whose turn it is decides the order. But yeah, it doesn't even matter here. Let's run the calculation.
Okay.
A multi-Melta is in range. D6 damage. Let's say it rolls a perfectly average 3.
Okay, 3 damage.
It's in Melta range. So it gets a +2 damage bonus.
Yeah.
Then you apply the CTAN's -1 damage rule.
Right.
So what is the final number?
3 + 2 for Melta is 5. Then -1 for Necrodermis is 4 damage.
4 damage. Now compare that to our old friend the last Ganon.
Yeah.
It also rolls a 3 on its damage.
Yeah.
D6 + 1, so that's 4 damage. -1 from Necrodermis is 3.
So the Melta weapon is still doing more damage than the last Ganon in that scenario.
It's doing significantly more. The Melta bonus cancels out the Necrodermis penalty and still adds an extra point of damage on top. The -1 does not mitigate the Melta. The Melta overwhelms the -1. It punches right through it.
The Red Team report has a chart on this. It says, Melta is now the single most efficient C-TAN killer in the game on a point per damage basis.
It is. It takes approximately 5.3 Melta shots on average to kill a Nightbringer. Do you know how many less cannons it takes?
You mentioned it earlier, 7, I believe?
7. Melta is nearly 30% more efficient. Yet, what does Ospex Tactics advise players to do?
He advises them to tank close-range fire. He says, and I quote, walk your C-TAN into Melta range. It'll be fine.
It's not just bad advice. It's gross negligence. It's an executable offense in my department.
Right.
If you walk a C-TAN into a squad of Eradicators or crisis suits with fusion blasters because you listen to the civilian contractor, you are writing off the asset. You are effectively handing your opponent 300 points on a silver platter.
The math is undeniable. Melta is the predator. C-TAN is the prey.
This is a comprehensive dismantling, Auditor. The entire foundation of the Ospex report seems to be built on sand.
On incorrect assumptions and a failure to read the footnotes.
Durability is lower than claimed against relevant threats. The core mobility trick is illegal. The primary healing strategy is fragile and easily countered. And its supposed defense against high-damage weapons is actually a critical vulnerability to the most common anti-tank weapon type.
It is a complete failure of strategic auditing.
Which brings us finally to the tactical synthesis, the final verdict.
Section 6. The dismissal.
Let's review the assets scribe. Put it all together. The Nightbringer. Is it a tank?
No, sir. Based on the audit, it is an expensive, fragile, elite infantry hunter.
Correct. The Deceiver. What's its deal?
The stealth ability is nice, but
All right.
its strength 10 melee is inefficient against heavy armor. It bounces off tanks.
It's a distraction at best. And the Void Dragon.
It's good against vehicles, but that makes it a niche pick. It relies entirely on the opponent bringing the right kind of targets. If they don't, it's overcosted.
So, given that the entire saturation event strategy from Ospex is a bust, what should our Necron player actually do with these things? What is the Departmento approved strategy?
According to the Red Team recommendations, they should first and foremost stop trying to be clever.
Stop trying to be clever. Stop trying to teleport monsters into phone booths. Abandon the Hypercrypt Legion for your C-TAN. It doesn't work. The rules forbid it. Stop.
What should they use instead, sir? The report suggests an alternative
Canoptech Court.
for the power matrix and the rerolls.
For the consistency, you get full rerolls to hit. If you're empowered, full rerolls to wound. If you are going to bring a 300-point asset to the field, you need to make sure it kills what it hits. You don't need teleportation tricks. You need raw, reliable statistical output.
And how should they treat the unit on the battlefield? Not as a boogeyman.
You're treated as a distraction, Carnifex.
A distraction.
It's big. It's scary. Civilians are afraid of it because they listen to reports like the one from Ospex. Use that fear. Push it up a flank. Make them shoot it with their last cannons. Even though it's inefficient for you now, it still draws fire away from your scoring units.
So it's a diversionary asset.
But do not treat it as a win condition. It is not the queen on the chessboard. It is a rook. A very expensive rook that cannot jump over pawns and get scared of Melta guns.
And for the opponent, the one fighting the Citan, what is the approved counter strategy?
Ignore it.
Ignore the star god. That seems counterintuitive.
Feed it garbage. Because that's so hard to understand. Feed it Gretchen. Feed it Kroot. Feed it a 10-man squad of guardsmen. It kills 5 models a turn. Fine. Who cares? That's 10 points of chaff.
And in the meantime,
you move block it. This is critical.
Yeah.
Remember, it can't fly over models if you can't find a place to land. If you put a ring of cheap infantry around it, it is trapped in a prison of flesh. It can't move. It can't charge anything important. And while it's stuck killing 5 guardsmen a turn, you focus your real firepower on the scoring units, on the Lich Guard, on the warriors. You win the game on points.
Let the star god scream into the void while you file the paperwork for victory.
It's coldly logical, Scribe.
It is the only way to survive an audit and a battle.
Put the report away, Scribe. I've seen enough. This audit is complete.
Yes, Auditor, filing it under disproven hypotheses and gross negligence.
You know, looking at these numbers, looking at the Nightbringer datasheet, it's tragic, really.
It's tragic, sir. It is an asset, a variable.
These are gods once, Scribe. They ate stars. They shattered reality with a thought. They commanded legions of soulless machines that darkened skies. And now?
Now they are data points on a ledger.
Now they are arguing about whether they can fit within 3 inches of a ruin wall. They are squabbling over damage modifiers and whether a Melta gun is going to one-shot them. They've been enslaved, broken into shards, and now they're just pawns.
It is a long fall from grace.
We are all just variables in an equation that equals 0, Scribe. The Nightbringer thinks it is death incarnate. I know the truth. Death is just a paperwork error that no one corrects. We calculate the wounds, we roll the dice, we measure the inches, but in the end, everything goes into the shredder. Every last piece of paper.
That is very bleak, Auditor.
It's the 41st millennium, Scribe. If you're not bleak, you're not paying attention. If you want to survive the next audit, citizens. If you want to make sure your list doesn't get liquidated by someone who has read the actual rules, tap that like button. Subscribe before the Administratum revokes your viewing privileges.
Please subscribe. He gets very grumpy when the viewership metrics are down. It affects the recap budget.
Dismissed. Pay your tithes, citizens.